to thinking to myself, like, okay, I'm not a big like liquor girl, but I could drink like a little wine. Wrong because
some tears, some stress, but I count my blessings.
Hi everyone, and welcome back or to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Ashley and I love making videos like this one, but I also do fashion vlogs, travel, etc. So if that sounds like something you're interested in, I hope you subscribe, become part of the fam, and stay tuned for today's video. So today's video, as you can see, we're very comfy. I am on the couch, I have my blanket. I'm just switching it up a little bit because, you know, why not? And I really just wanted this conversation to be chill, cozy, grab a snack as always, grab something to drink. I have my water here and we're just gonna catch up, talk about some things, because why not? So the topic of today's video is Christianity boring? I know, right? I feel like this is something that has been talked about before, or definitely you've heard it. So I want to dive into that. But first, number one, I wanted to do a quick check-in, you know, see how you're doing, share how I'm doing, get those vibes started. So for me, today has been a very chill day. I just really needed time to rest because I feel like I've just been on like go. So I've been taking it more slow, just waking up. Again, hence the vibes of this video is very cozy, very chill, like just catching up, not a whole lot of structure. Hopefully you like this type of video, but I just wanted to come on here and just give you the real and raw, as I always do. So yeah, to sum it all up, your girl has just been taking these couple days really slow, more restful. I definitely hit that curve a little bit of feeling burnt out when it comes to work, so I needed to just recharge, give myself some rest. And honestly, I was a little bit like, do I want to film a video? I may just skip this week, but I was like, no, Ashley, you said you wanted to be consistent this new year, and let's just stick to posting every single week. You're not going to feel bad about it once you've actually like set the camera up and just start talking. So also a little heads up for anyone that has been in a season or just like in a mood where you're like, oh, I don't know if I want to do this, just show up and you may be surprised how you feel afterwards. So that's what I'm doing. I'm holding myself accountable. We're setting up the camera, we're getting cozy, and we're just gonna film, we're just gonna catch up, and we're just gonna talk about some things. So that's number one, how I've been doing. To sum it all up, I've been taking things a lot more slower, giving myself grace, but also still showing up as best as I can. It does not be my perfect self, but at least we showed up, you know? So now that we got that out of the way, let me know how you're feeling. Let me know some things that you may, you know, maybe enduring during this season, or you may relate with me, just taking it more slow, having restful days, trying to not burn out, because I know it's so easy to burn out, but when we have different skills in place, it could help us to avoid that. So yeah, let me know how you're doing, how you're feeling, how's your week going. I'd love to hear. Now, number two, moving on into the actual topic, I wanted to talk about this because I was recently going over like just the transition that God has me in, where I was doing certain things just simply for the fact of other people I was around doing it, and thinking that that equated fun. And if I didn't do those things, then I was boring, I wasn't fun. And oftentimes when you give your life to God, or you start back, you know, really putting God first, you can often be told, oh, Christianity has too many rules, it's boring, like I just want to have fun. And it can be the reason why a lot of people stray away from putting God first in their life, because they think that they won't be able to have fun, it's going to be so boring, yada yada yada. So let's talk about it. Number one, I feel like, you know, you definitely have to decipher what is fun to you, not what's fun to this world. And I have a perfect example of this, which is alcohol. I am not a drinker at all, but when I was very much so in the world, I would go out with my friends and we would go to this like bar, or we'll go out to a friend's house and there will be alcohol involved. And I would simply just get a drink for the aesthetic. It wasn't because I really wanted that drink. It wasn't because I even liked the way that it tasted. It was just because of the aesthetic. And I kid you not, one or two things would happen. Number one, I wouldn't even finish the drink because my head would start to hurt or my stomach would start to hurt and I just wouldn't finish it. Or number two, I would only get one drink and just sip on that drink the entirety of the night. Like, me with more than one drink would be like unheard of. And anybody that knew me like or knows me now would tell you like, yeah, I don't drink. And when I did drink, I wasn't drinking more than one, maybe 1.5 drink. Like, I'm a lightweight and it just wasn't for me. So anyways, you know, fast forward, I'm still like hanging out with people, going to these different little cute bars or friends gatherings, and I'm just getting a drink because I'm there and I don't want to seem like a party pooper. So I'm like, let me get a drink, like everybody else is drinking. But again, like every time I would either sip on it like for hours upon hours, like I wouldn't even finish it, or I would just not feel the best. Like my head would hurt, my stomach would hurt, I just wouldn't feel the best. And a lot of people I know would argue and say, well, that's just because, you know, your body isn't used to it. But like, honestly, I'm glad my body didn't get used to it because it just wasn't for me. And that's okay. I think for a while I pressured myself and thinking like, oh, come on, Ashley, like you're 23, like everybody's drinking, everybody's going out, you need to get with it. But I slowly realized like, I'm just not a drinker. I don't like the way it tastes. It always messes with my stomach, it gives me headaches. I was drunk one time that I could remember, and when I kid you not, it was literally the worst feeling. I remember waking up and I was like, what happened? Because I slept at my friend's house, you know, obviously I was drunk, and they were like, yeah girl, and they were like catching me up, and I was like, what, like I felt so disgusted. I felt so like I was like over it. And so I was like, so after that happened, I was like, I never want to get drunk again. And so anytime I would go out and there was alcohol involved, I would stick to that like 1.5 drink rule because I didn't want to get drunk, because I remember how that felt. Like I felt miserable. My head was killing me. I didn't even know what all happened the night before, which is like really bad. But hey, let's talk about it. You know, I'm gonna be real with y'all. I'm gonna be raw with y'all. Like, I didn't remember everything that happened. You know, thankfully, like I wasn't at a bar or a club. I was at my friend's house and we all just like was drinking. So it was a safe environment. I trusted them. And you know, they made sure I was good. They literally like put some pajamas on me. They laid me down. They were telling me what happened. They were like, yeah girl, you threw up. I was like, what? They was like, yeah girl, you threw up. We had to clean it up. We like they made sure I was good, you know. And that was obviously one thing that I can say is that the first time I did get drunk and the last, I was in a safe environment, which was, you know, God's protection. Thank you, God. But after that like night, I was like, oh no, like I hated the way I felt the next morning. And I know people say this, right? Like nobody likes a hangover, but people still drink, and they drink to get blackout drunk. Like not just, okay, you know, a little alcohol here or there, a little glass of wine. And I'm just like, how are y'all doing it? Because that one night I was gone. I was gone. And no judgment here, because like I said again, I did it. But long story short, like every time after that, when I was drinking alcohol, I just didn't like it. And then I moved on into thinking to myself like, okay, I'm not a big like liquor girl, but I could drink like a little wine. Wrong, because I did not like wine either. Like my friends would try to like talk about this great wine, and I would drink it to try it, and it would either be too bitter, too dry, not good enough. I just couldn't actually like finish a bottle of wine. And for the longest time, I was only drinking like Stella Rose, and people, you know, that drink wine would argue that's not a real wine, you know, that's not a real wine bottle, wine company, whatever. And you know, I would agree with them because it definitely tasted like juice, and that was the only reason why I was able to actually drink it. And that makes me think about another thing that I used to do when I did drink, was anytime I would go to like the club or the bar, I would always ask the bartender like, what is your most fruitiest, sweetest juice? Like I did not want any hard liquor. I was like, I was pretty much trying to get the alcohol to taste as much as juice as it possibly could, because I just couldn't drink the browns. I couldn't drink the strong liquor. I just couldn't do it. And my friends would be laughing at me. They're like, because I would be like, I would literally ask them like, what's your most like fruitiest, juicy drink? Because I couldn't do it. Like here, you know, I have some people that's just like, boom, could just take the Hennessy shots. And I'm like, girl, how are you doing that? Because I couldn't. I would literally like gag almost. And again, this is like no judgment, because like some people do have like a stronger intake. Some people, you know, found alcohol as a cope mechanism for some hard things they experience. So this is like no judging. As y'all all know, my YouTube channel is a judgment-free zone. I'm just here to share some things and really just talk about me, you know. So anyways, yeah, long story short, your girl very much so realized early on she just doesn't like alcohol, and I need to stop pretending that I do for the sake of I want to seem fun when that's not my type of fun. And so when we tell ourselves, or when people say Christianity is boring, it's like, take a look at what's your fun. Because if your fun is like, you know, always getting drunk, don't remember what happened the night before, you know, your body's like literally aching, is that really fun? hey, we all have different definitions of fun, but for me, I learned very on that was not my type of fun. That was what I felt that I needed to do based on society's definition of fun, especially as a, you know, person in their early 20s. Like, you're supposed to go out and drink and all that is, like, live your life. But I realized like quickly that like that wasn't my type of fun. I would leave those experiences and I would feel horrible, like horrible. And something that somebody told me very recently was, when you're hanging around certain people or you're at certain events, take a inventory check. You know, it could be 30 minutes afterwards. It doesn't have to be like a day, a week, but just 30 minutes afterwards, and really ask yourself, how did you feel? How did this meeting, how did this person really make you feel? Because that will let you know everything about yourself, about if they're the person that you should be around, etc. And so again, for me, after these experiences, I realized like, Ashley, you're not a drinker. My friends were telling me this already, like, girl, you're lightweight, you don't drink. But I was like, no, like, I'm gonna do it, like, tonight's gonna be the night, like, we're gonna get da-da-da. And then once again, I would drink like one drink, or I would like be gone after like a drink and a half, and they're like, we told you. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I just don't like it. And so I had to just like realize, like, you're just not a drinker, Ashley, and that's okay. Like, you don't like it, it doesn't taste good to you. Stop forcing yourself because you think that that's like what it means to be fun. It's not, and it's okay. So now, as I began to like really start to focus on myself and putting God first, I realized that a lot of things that society was telling me that was fun, what I was supposed to be doing with my life, was actually things that were taking away so much joy. They weren't making me happy. They weren't feeling fun at all. But when I really started being intentional with my time, like reading, like going for walks in nature, like being among people where we can have like good conversations, that was fun to me. And I realized that society, yes, they may try to put these different like activities and categories of what's fun, what's boring, but the truth is you have to check in with yourself, number one, like, and see, how do you feel? Okay, and then number two, really ask yourself, is that fun? Is that really fulfilling? Or is that giving you this type of like instant gratification, which is why you keep running to it, you know? And so for me, since I've been putting God first in my life, I don't believe that walking with God is boring. I think that it's like the best peace, the best joy, it's the best fun I ever had, because I find so much fulfillment. I find so much like substance through God's love, through God's grace, through God himself, than when I was in this world. Like, I was miserable, like I said again, waking up feeling horrible. Like, it just was not fun for me And so with that being said, also when I really started being mindful of the people that like I was around and being cautious of like, again, is this like feeling good after I left their presence, it made me realize that, you know, it wasn't. And when I was really leading a life that I know was God led, not the world led, I really was starting to see the people that wasn't for me, the people that was, you know, making it seem like they were for me, but they weren't. And again, I think that everything for me personally just started to become like an eye-opener, and I was like, wow, that's why I suffered from that, that's why I kept entertaining that, that's why I kept going back and I didn't know why. Like, it was just an eye-opener for me when I really decided to put God as like the priority of my life. And so I believe that it's not boring. And if you find yourself think that it's boring, like, again, check in with yourself and ask yourself, like, why are these things fun to me? And are they fun to me? Because I had to check on myself, and I had to look around, and I had to think about all the things that society was telling me that was fun, what I should be doing. And I looked and I was like, well, it's not fun to me. Like, I don't feel fun. I don't feel happy when I do these things, like, you know? And so, like, that's also, you know, something too, to check in with yourself. And I was watching this YouTube video, this podcast, and the girl that was like, you know, the host of the podcast was mentioning how she was watching a video and the person had asked like, well, you know, Christianity, they just have too many rules. And the woman responded back and she said, well, you know, when you're married to someone, you wouldn't tell your wife, right? Like, oh, like, this is too much, why can I not cheat? And he was like, no, like, you know, it's just expected of you that when you marry somebody, you know you're not supposed to cheat. You wouldn't dare tell your wife, oh, I wish I could cheat. Like, this is just too much, you know? And if you did cheat, people would look at you like you're in the wrong, you did the wrong thing. And he was like, wow, I didn't think about it like that. And it's like, when you decide to be committed to God, little things that people think is fun and in this world, you won't even question it. You won't even think that that's something you should do, because you're committed. You're committed to God. Just like when you're committed to like that person, when you get married and you make a vow in front of God, your family, you're saying you're committed to that person. So hopefully, you know, you wouldn't even think about cheating. You wouldn't even think about doing these like betrayal things to the person that you just committed to in front of God and your family. So it's the same thing. Like, when you commit your life to God and really say like, God, I'm giving it to you, you are, you know, the head of my life, you won't even think about those things anymore. You definitely won't do them, because you now know like it's not worth it. Like, it's not worth it at all. Got my salvation, my relationship with God, it's not worth it to choose this world, because I've done it, you know? Like, again, this is like real. I've done it. I've chose the world, was trying to do things that I thought was fun and what I needed to do, because I'm 23, I'm so young, but they were always unfulfilling. They left me dry. They left me feeling really bad, like mentally, emotionally, physically. They weren't fun. They weren't fun. And now that I'm like, again, putting God as the priority in my life, I know that I don't want to risk it, let alone will risk it, because it is not worth it. This world is not worth where God is calling me. This world is not worth everything that I know God is about to do in my life and for me. This world is not worth my happiness, because this world, again, you will never find true happiness through it. The only true happiness you will find is through God. And I stand 10 toes down on that one. But it's just so true. So yeah, I just wanted to come on here and to just do like a little quick video, share some things about really sitting with that and asking yourself, like, the things that you have told yourself that are fun, really ask yourself, why is this fun to me? Like, what does it give me afterwards? And then ask yourself, is it worth everything that God is calling you to? You know, if you're not a believer in God, then this video may not resonate with you, but I highly suggest you still take time and take inventory of the fun things that you're doing. Take inventory of the people that's around you, because that will tell you everything about what is meant for you, where you should be going, what you need to be doing, etc. So yeah, I hope this video resonated with at least one person, as always, and I hope that you take more time on this beautiful day and week ahead to really prioritize things that feel good and nourishment emotionally and physically. And as always, if no one has told you, I'm here to tell you that I am so proud of you. You're doing enough. You are exactly where you're meant to be. And yeah, I hope that you enjoyed this week's video.